Back at it again with another video. And today we will be talking about how Christians make it seem like it's easier to not follow God, at least in my opinion. Now, disclaimer, I'm a Christian. I'm not Jesus. I don't always have the works of a Christian, but I know what I believe. So for all the people, all the Pharisees, all the people that want to sit up there and try to treat the Bible, I guess one of these false religions where you have to earn your way to paradise, miss me with that. Because y'all can have the aesthetic and be going straight to the bottom pit. So what made me think of this video subject, at least, is how I've noticed on social media there's been a trend of people who make it seem almost as if they don't even want to follow God, and they're like guilting themselves into following God. Like, y'all don't think God understands that? Like, what is it with a lot of these modern day Christians and being on the internet and thinking that God doesn't understand every nuance or angle that you think? Dude, following God makes life easier. Following God makes life easier, contrary to popular belief. See, the problem with a lot of these Christians is they're trying to mix the world in and look at the Bible through a worldly view instead of looking at the world through a biblical view. That's why I think that a lot of these Christians are deceived, because they're so worried about the aesthetic of being a Christian, or even the title that comes with being a Christian. They don't even know if they're saved. They ain't even understanding about what it takes to be saved, because being saved is simple. Do you believe the gospel? Do you believe that Christ's work is finished? That's it. Y'all are literally doing what Pharisees did, what false religions do. If you can't prove yourself, that means that you can't be a part of the club, and that's completely false. Why do you think Jesus caused such an uproar? It's because he came to break that law. He came to break that mindset. All you people that think you got to do this or do that or do whatever just to be saved, he came to basically say, all you have to do is believe me. That's it. Believe in me, believe my words, and that's it. And when you do that, that relationship will make you better in his image, not in the world's image, in his image. And nowadays, being a man, a black man, whatever, being a man that's searching for truth, you start to see how comfortable a lot of people are in their deception, and they consider their deception truth because they have a lot of people that agree with them. Okay, like, I'm 27 years old and I'm single, right? You'll have people who believe that because I'm a single bachelor, that I'm somehow not wanting a wife or a family, and I just want to fornicate with women all day. No. I'm single because it's not worth it if it's not gonna end well. That's my whole point. My relationship with God is not performative. A lot of y'all's are. That's why a lot of y'all feel like you're never doing enough, because God didn't tell you that. Somebody told you that in this world. That's the reason why a lot of y'all are confused, because you're listening to these people, you ain't listening to God. And that right there is the reason why you will never, ever, ever be fulfilled. That's why you'll listen to people who tell you that following God makes life harder, even though they're lying. I'm gonna prove they're lying. You know how? Because look at myself. All the stuff that I've ever been through, when I didn't have God, I had all these fixes that never actually fixed the situation. But when I actually learned about God and learned the Bible and learned just some things that I needed to learn, it made me understand that my emotions might have been in the wrong place. That's why things might have seemed a certain way when they wouldn't even like that. I was so bent on trying to prove myself that if I actually did read the Bible the way I was supposed to, or understand the Bible, because you can read it and not understand it, but understand the Bible like a child, I would have seen that it really wasn't that complicated. And I would have saved myself a lot of headache if I just would have had some type of humility when it comes to the Bible. Because y'all are reading it like a book. In reality, it's God's message. That's what I'm saying. And I think a lot of these pastors, a lot of these churches, and a lot of these cultures that come from the Bible that aren't really biblical creates that nonsense in your life. God does not make it hard. People do. Because if he did make it hard, he'd be a liar, and he cannot lie. Because he said, I make you lie down in green pastures. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened. I give you comfort. Why are Christians so hell-bent on suffering? And then even some of y'all go as far as to make it seem like you want to suffer just so you can prove you're a Christian. And you even go as far as that to be like, if you aren't suffering, you're not a Christian. Who told you that? Who told you that? Why do y'all keep thinking that hardship validates you? Why are y'all so hell-bent on trying to prove to people, not even God, but to people, that you're faithful to God? That's performance. That's why I said, I'm not finna listen to that. Because yes, it has been difficult, but it's like, there's so many things to look past that. There's so many things to look past thinking like that. And I'm gonna be honest. When I quit going to church, that's when I understood that. You ever just have a perfect day, then somebody reminds you of something, but then they try to make you feel anxious because they would if they were you? That's my whole point. Christ is real, right? And his word is real, and he very much so spoke truth. Why are y'all making it more than what it is? He said, y'all are taken care of. He said, we are taken care of. We are comforted. We are victorious. We are all of these things. But when it comes to y'all have this complex of like hardship because you want to prove to this world that you're a follower of God. That's why I don't even like saying Christian, because it's more than just a title. Like, are you following God for real, or are you just trying to prove something? And that's my whole point. What are you trying to prove? Y'all's God is not the God of the Bible. Y'all's God is your vanity. Y'all's God is your ego. And when you just think about it, this is what has literally helped me be peaceful. When you start thinking about what God has to say about what some of these people say, you'll realize that they don't even know what they're talking about. My life is going to be peaceful. You know why? Because my God is peaceful. I don't have I'm so tired of this idiot. Like, bro, we live in a small town, less than 10,000 people. Like, who are you trying to prove something to? But my God is a God of abundance and a God of peace and a God of comfort. This is what happens when you live in a society, an American society, that pushes resistance just for the sake of resistance. And that's my problem with a lot of y'all. Nobody said that you ain't gonna struggle, but I'm not finna dive into a pit of needles just to prove that I'm a faithful Christian. Because a real faithful Christian will be like, well, I'm not doing it unless God told me to. And I would think about why I would even think to do something like that to myself in the first place. It wouldn't be to prove to God anything. It'd be to prove to other people that I follow God. Who are them? Who are them people? This is the problem. Y'all want to make everything a clique. Y'all want to make everything an aesthetic. Y'all want to make everything a group. But it's so simple. Y'all, it's really simple. Y'all make it complicated. That's why a lot of y'all be calling yourselves Baptist and Pentecostal and Seventh-day Adventist. Y'all be calling yourselves all that, but you don't even know if you're saved. You call yourself all that, and you think, and whichever one of y'all denominations is right. Let me ask you this: would that make you go to heaven? The same way with a lot of this stuff, these false religions. And a lot of these so-called Christians are no different. You're turning the Bible into an aesthetic, and you're turning it into a rule book, not a love letter. A lot of y'all are not Christians. A lot of y'all are not followers of Christ. You're followers of this world and trying to wrap it up the way I guess Christ would. You're trying to make it seem like Christ is the center when he's not. Really, the center of it is your vanity. And that is, in my opinion, the reason why I don't really just be around some of these believers, because they're not really believers. They have the same principles as a false religion. It's all works based. You have people that are so-called Christians right now that'll tell you faith without works is dead, and take that and basically say that they have to commit works to prove that they're faithful. And then when you go read in the Bible what works means, it means to believe that Jesus Christ is sent by God. That's it. Because this is what some of you idiots don't ever realize. Whatever you could do, there's somebody that can't do that. So why do they follow God if they're going to hell anyway? That's my whole point. That's the whole thing about being a Christian in the modern day. It's not even modern, to be real. To be real, it's not modern. It's not modern at all. It's always been here. Pharisees were the first people that I can think of that did stuff like that. Everything that y'all think y'all are doing to go to heaven, there's people who can't do that. So why follow it all? That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't go to church. Not because church is bad, because it's not real church. Y'all are not believers for real. You're believers in what you can do, not what God can do through you. That's why I said I'm straight on it. Because I'm not finna sit up there and compare myself to people who can donate $1,000 and I need $1,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm comparing myself to people like that, thinking I'm less of a Christian and I'm going to hell. Because you can show up, you can do this. I'm over here thinking that people are more blessed than I am, and I'm thinking that God is intentionally blessing them more because of what works they're doing. I don't follow a God of transaction. I don't follow a God of conditions. Y'all don't either, but y'all pretend y'all do. That's the disconnect. You ain't got to do that, bro. You ain't got to do that. All you have to do is literally just believe. But let some of these people tell you, oh, your hair ain't long. God doesn't like that. You eat pork. God doesn't like that. You don't have faith, or you're doubting. God doesn't like that. There's a lot of things God doesn't like, even with all the right that you do. But when you try to figure all that out, you're going to go insane, and you're just ultimately going to quit caring because there's nothing you can do to save you. That's the whole point of Jesus Christ being crucified. You can't save yourself. Jesus does. And that's it. That's all. That's all. And I'm going to leave it off with a Bible verse. Another verse I really like. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 3, where it says, he who built the house has more honor than the house. And in verse 4, it says, God is who built all things. So think about that. All things were built by God. He who built the house has more honor than the house. That destroys prosperity gospel right there. That destroys the stuff y'all talking about right there. What are y'all building y'all house with? He who built that house has more honor than that house. I can't remember the first half of the verse where it talks about Moses, and it says the one that came after Moses. Talking about Jesus. And it says he built the house and he has more honor than the house. But y'all are building y'all houses thinking that you have as much honor as Jesus. And I just don't understand why. Y'all better put down religion and pick up the phone with God trying to talk to you, trying to have a relationship with you. Because I'm telling you, you can't halfway believe. And a lot of y'all are deceived because you believe something that was not in the Bible or was taught wrong. But pray for the humility. Pray for whatever you feel like you're lacking, and you'll get it in due time. And that was what my problem was. I felt like whatever criticisms I had of myself had to be taken care of overnight. No. So I'm not finna let some so-called Christian tell me that this can't happen or that can't happen just because that's what it looked like. We follow an invisible God. We follow a God of mystery. We've seen it over and over and over again where God takes your hardship and turns it in your favor. And if your hardship didn't happen, your blessing wouldn't have happened. So when you just really sit back and marinate on how God really be moving, you'll see that a lot of these folks are deceived. And it's crazy. It's just the tip of the iceberg at that. But that's all I got. Y'all have a blessed day and follow God, not the church, because God will show you what the church is supposed to be like.